Hey yo, what's good? I want to give a shout out to some of you guys in the white TBC, like Andrew Senior and Blood Boxing and Jay Deal and Boxingologist and Cigar Boxing. You guys, some of you guys just know the sport so well and go so in depth in the history aspect of the sports in fights that happened barely like in the you're talking about the bare knuckle era, and you're talking about haploid his name escapes me right now, but he's doing a great series on um super fights in of history, man. He's like starting from the Iliad. I'm like, whoa, dude, whoa. you know but yeah, you guys just go so in depth and just make me want to learn so much more about the sport that I, that we love. Like, there's so much to study, so much to learn. And today is a very special day. Today marks the 100th anniversary of Jack Johnson's final defense of the heavyweight title against um Jess Willard against Jess Willard, in which he lost in a 26 round knockout. Imagine that, fighting 26 rounds, man. And this fight was scheduled for 45 rounds. Johnson was getting older. He was getting up in age. He was getting chunky. That's what they're saying. He was getting big. He was getting a little bigger. That good life, man. And Johnson flashed it. And white people at the time, they hated that, man. You got to understand the times. This segregation. Both of his parents were former slaves, man. White people hated that. He flashed his wealth. He bought fancy cars. He dated white women. He married 3 white women. And in Mike Tyson's book, he states that Jack Johnson would stuff his pants, dude, to make his to make his fucking to make his genitals look bigger, dude. That would enrage the white people that hated him so much, dude. Jackie Johnson was a bad man. And after chasing after going after the title for 2 years, he finally got the title shot. Against Tommy Burns. He had to wait 2 years, and it was harder. It's hard to understand the politics back then. For those that don't know, Jack Johnson was the first black heavyweight champion, and as some of you have alluded to in one of the debates, great debates, guys, great stuff, great stuff. I always learn something listening to that. I love it. But it was hard for a black fighter, man. It was hard. It was hard. But Jackie Johnson, son of former slaves, dude, became the first African American heavyweight champion. And he defended it 1, 2, 3, 4. Taking a quick look at BoxRec: 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wait. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, guys. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times he defended that title. And don't get me wrong. He didn't fight 9 times between 1908 and 1915. That's just the times he fought in these fights that were sanctioned. And not all these fights were for the heavyweight title either. But he also fight exhibitions, and Jackie Johnson was making money, guys. He was making money for this defense against Jess Willard. He made $30,000. $30,000, guys. That's so much money in 1915, dude. That's a lot of money. Plus 1/3 of the picture privileges, which is like the distribution, I would think, right? So coming into this fight, the Willard camp, they knew Jackie Johnson was getting old, man. He already had he had a lot of fights under his belt already. They knew he might be washed up by this point. So they're like, okay, we know Jackie Johnson's bad. He's 41, 5-8. We know this was bad, but he's getting up in age. He's getting big around the edges. He's getting chunky. So let's make this a 45 rounder. But because it's just so crazy, because he could hang maybe 15, 20 rounds, but he can't hang with us 45 rounds. And that's exactly what it was, man. Because the reports say, and if you watch the film, you could say it. They have some on YouTube of this fight. He was beating him thoroughly. He was beating him like the first 15, 16 rounds. And then after the 17 rounds, tide started to change, He started putting pressure on. He started landing more. And after the 20th round, he told his corner to tell his wife to leave the building because he's like, oh, it's gonna be over soon. He understood that this fight was not gonna last. You gotta understand, Jess Willard was a former cowboy. He was 6'6", 6 inches taller than him, and 245 pounds. Big dude. I picture like a Vitaly Klitschko. Man, a big dude. And nope, he could not hang. He was winning. And the referee said after the fight, he's like, if I had to score this fight, I would give it to Jack Johnson by a wide margin. But this young man, he was only 33 at the time with like less than 30 fights. This young man in round 26 threw a crushing right hand, which stopped him. The referee, once he counted 10, raised Jess Willard's hand, and the Great White Hope became the Great White Hero. The crowd was like, yeah, we finally, in the eyes at the time, this black fighter that was against society, that was against the morals of society. He even got chased out of the United States because of the Mann Act, because he would cross the borders with white women, marry white women. That was illegal at the time, and they wanted to arrest him. So he fled. He didn't fight. He didn't fight in the United States for like 10 years, man. He did not. He fled. He fled to Paris. He fought in Cuba. He fought in and this fight was in Havana. That's what surprised me when I saw this poster of this fight. I was like, Havana, Cuba. Then I was like, I gotta read this article on the ringtv.com, which I'm gonna put in the description, and I'm gonna put another article from Boxing News 24. They got some good articles as well. They got a good article on that fight. But yeah, the Great White Hope became the Great White Hero, and Johnson accepted his loss right after. He's like, yeah, he was a better man. He caught me clean. But what's funny about this situation is that a few months afterwards, he confessed to Nat Fletcher, who was the editor for the first ever editor for a founder of the Ring magazine. He was a founder. Nat Fletcher paid him $250 to confess, to give him the letter that he threw the fight. But nobody really believes him. I'll read what his corner says, and what the corner of the corner of Willard says as well. They said, Curly, this is on BoxRec. It says, Curly later stated, nobody ever took Johnson's charges of fakery seriously. He was well past his prime, fat and dissipated, and he was worn down and knocked out by a strong game and well-conditioned opponent. We gotta understand, this was Havana, Cuba. It was over 100 degrees, and he went 26 rounds. Even Jess Willard's like, dude, if you're gonna throw the fight, you should have thrown it earlier. It was fucking hot, So no one really took his charge. no one took his allocation seriously. He said he got 50 grand and that he was going to be allowed to go into the United States to see his mother, and which he did not go to the United States for another 5 years. He turned himself in 1920, and he served 10 months for violating the Mann Act in 1920. But this fight was very significant because it marked the first time a black champion lost his title. And to understand the times, this man Willard was viewed as a hero. He was a hero. Johnson never got another title shot after this, and Jess Willard went on. He didn't go on to do much things. He only fought a few more times, but he is remembered for fighting Jack Dempsey in one of the most brutal fights. Like, Jack Dempsey messed him up, man. He only lasted like 4 rounds. He beat him up bad, man. He beat him up bad. So, over the minor controversy of Jack Johnson, like, throwing this fight, which nobody really believes because, dude, 26 rounds. You don't go almost 26 rounds when you're gonna throw a fight. So I really don't believe it. He was saying that he was supposed to throw the fight in round 11, but like he would like look at his wife and he wouldn't give him the signal, which was like a white handkerchief or whatever, that the money was intact. So he kept fighting and trying to win, but once his wife like gave him the thumbs up, that meant that he could throw the fight. So that's when he threw that fight over the crushing left hook, which no, I'm sorry, but I'm not buying it either. He said it after the fight. So when he comes up 9 months later saying that he threw it, it's kind of like, dude, why are you doing this? He said it was a clean knockout and the best man won. It was not a matter of luck. I have no kick coming. So he's basically saying the better man won, and nobody took his charges seriously. Yeah. So today is a great, very significant day for boxing historians like many of you guys in the YTBC, and I hope to do a lot more research in these areas of these older fights, man, because you guys are just putting out gold. Like Blood Boxing's video on Barbados Joe Walcott was just it was a great video. If you haven't checked it out, I'm gonna put that one in the description as well, because you guys need to check out that video. It's like 45 minutes long, but it's a great video. All right, guys, tell me what you think about this event. If it's really as significant as I think it is. It's the 100th anniversary of this. But tell me what your thoughts on this video. Comment, rate, please, and please subscribe. All right. Peace.